Today we're going to unbox and review the Samsung Galaxy Tab A. This is the 8-inch model in particular. Its features include an 8-inch display, a 1.2 GHz quad-core processor, 1.5 GB of RAM, a 5.0 megapixel camera in the rear, and a 2.0 megapixel camera in the front. And it's got full HD playback and HD recording, and a 4,200 milliamp battery. So let's go ahead and try to break this open. Got instructions here, charger cable, power block, and the Galaxy Tab A. Very nicely packaged. I'm just going to skip through all of that and get right into the operating system over here. Now the screen looks great. I mean, at first glance it's very sharp. You can see a lot of detail within it. Let's go ahead and go into About Device. You can see that it's running Android 5.0.2, so that's one of the most recent versions. And let's go ahead and get some benchmarking apps so we can see how this thing performs. Okay, on the Geekbench score we got a 465 single core score. The multi-core scored at 1,422. You can see in the device information the model is a SM T350 running Android 5.0.2. It says it's got 1.39 gigabyte of RAM, and it did the best on the SH5 checksum benchmark with the multi-core. Two-fish encryption did fairly well. AES kind of suffered. The single-core AES decryption didn't even register, but it did about 35 megabytes a second. Multi-core did 146 megabytes a second. So it's processing numbers pretty well. It's got a good number cruncher in it. The input-output on the memory is kind of a low end. Ray tracing on the single core is fairly low, but it goes up quite a ways on the multi-core. That's GPU rendering, pertinence. And then what else do we got here? Those are all floating point operations. Compression and decompression here. You can see it does fairly well on the multi-core. If the application can only utilize single core, you're going to get a huge performance drop just all across the board. But I think overall the benchmarking performance is fairly well, considering the multi-core score is 1,422. So let's continue on and see how this sounds when you play music with it.
Outside there's a boxcar waiting outside the family store. Out by the fire breathing. Outside we wait till face turns blue. I know the nerve is walking. I know the dirt. Geometry Wars.
Yeah, this thing has a good frame rate. It did bad in the benchmarking, but it's doing Geometry Wars really well. Oh no. Die, you evildoers! Okay, so when you're playing video games on this tablet, you have a great 8-inch display. It's got a 4.3 letterbox aspect ratio, so it gives you more of a view, opposed to the wider phones, where you can't really see as much when you're using it. It's got loudspeakers, they're kind of treble heavy, doesn't do a lot of bass, but you're not going to find good bass in the lower end Samsung tablets, especially from this series. However, they did just go through a price drop. You can check it out in the link. Just the specifications, the current prices, things like that. So if you would like, subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. And if you own one or have a different one that you like more, tell me about that. Tell me about the other tablet. And keep in touch for more reviews. Thank you.